Going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Horror, this is Ethan Horror, and today we are back with another ranking. Today we are going to be ranking the Psycho franchise because I have finally finished all of the movies. For a while I have seen the first 4 Psycho movies, but I have never seen the remake because I just didn't want to, but I realized I wanted to do a video on it, so I had to watch it anyway, and it was just as bad as I expected. But we have 5 Psycho movies as of now, not including the Bates Motel TV series, just the 5 movies, and we're going to go through and rank all 5 of them from worst to best. There was no question as to what I was putting at the last place spot. It's Psycho 1998. There is, without a doubt, the worst of these 5 movies. Because the sequels, for their faults, some of them are pretty good. This remake, if we're looking at it on a film standpoint, it's a good movie. It is technically a good film. But the thing holding this movie back is that it shouldn't exist. It just genuinely should not exist. There is no reason for this movie to be on this planet. There is no purpose. This movie serves no purpose at all. Because with most remakes, they're bad because they just do the same thing, you know, they're very samey, it just kind of barely doesn't do anything very much new. This movie, quite literally, doesn't do anything new. Actually, take that back, it does do one thing new, which we'll talk about. This is a shot-for-shot remake, which, if you guys don't know what that means it's the exact same damn movie. It is quite literally Psycho 1960 in color with different actors. That is the movie. It is the most pointless existence. I would never in a million years for any reason choose to watch Psycho 1998 over the original 1960s classic, because the 1960 classic is good. So technically, again, this movie is technically a good movie, but it is boring. It's lazy. It's just the most pointless thing I have ever personally watched in my life. It serves no purpose in existing because I will never rewatch it. I'll just watch 1960 because the performances in the 1961 feel more natural. I think Anne Heche does a great job in this one. Personally, I don't care for Vince Vaughn's performance as Norman. I think he kind of seems like he's trying too hard to not just do exactly what Anthony Perkins did, but when it's a shot-for-shot remake where the script is basically the exact same, you can't really do much new. And also, the 2 new things, or I guess 3 new things that this movie, there's a couple of shots in here that are changed, and they're not good. It actually takes away from the movie. So in the beginning, the first shot that I noticed was changed. So you get to see Viggo Mortensen's, his butt. Thank God we have that in this movie. Then, the next shot that I noticed that was changed has to do with the, peephole. If you guys have seen this movie, you'll know that they decided to add, when Norman Bates is looking through the peephole, he decides to, yeah. And then the next one that they decide to add comes just a little bit later during the shower scene where they decide at the end, we need to see Marion Crane's butthole.
What?
We didn't. Coming in at number 4, this was probably the easiest ranking. Hi, Cat. This was probably the easiest ranking I have ever done in my life because, well, it's just, well, you'll see. But number 4 is number 4. It's Psycho 4, The Beginning. this is the only one where I would say, besides 1998, that I would say I don't like. It's not horrible, it's not terrible, but I just don't like it. It felt like they just kind of, this is the only sequel in the series that feels like it was unnecessary, that it just kind of got tacked on there to make some money. Because the first three, I think, tell a very good, complete story, and then four just completely, it feels tacked on. It's kind of a prequel, but it's also not, because it tells the final chapter in Norman Bates' story, but also it is him talking to this radio about his childhood, and we get a bunch of scenes going back to his childhood and showing us what his childhood was like and how he eventually killed his mom. I don't think it's necessarily bad, a lot of the stuff, but a lot of the scenes just kind of felt like you knew exactly what was going to happen, so there's no point for suspense. Because, I mean, again, the thing with prequels is that you know exactly what's going to happen because of what doesn't happen in the movies that come after it. But the other part of the story that I do like is the actual continuation of the Psycho story, where you get Norman's kind of like, he's finally defeated Mother and he's accepted it and he's settling down for a life. And I don't mind that part of the story, but it's just kind of the flashback stuff that it doesn't feel necessary, and there's no tension because you know exactly what's going to happen. You know he's going to poison his mom and her boyfriend, and you know that he isn't gonna fall in love. Like, you know all this stuff is gonna happen, so it just kind of feels like it's pointless to tell us that. Sorry if you can hear something. My cat's been walking around the whole time and she's purring right now, so if you hear that, sorry. Coming in at number 3, I have Psycho 3. Now, if you haven't noticed, it's kind of just going in order as they just get worse as you go along. And spoiler, that's just how the whole list is going to be. But this one, I get Psycho 2 and 3 mixed up all the time in my head when I'm thinking about them. But I do remember liking this one a little bit less, just because I felt like the acting wasn't as strong. The writing certainly wasn't as strong as in the first and second one. The second one had such a great continuation of the first movie and its story, and this one also has a good continuation of that story, but like I said, it just kind of gets worse and worse as you go along. So it's not as good as part 2 or part 1 in, like, as I said, the acting and the writing. It looks good. It might be the one that is shot the best of any of the movies, honestly. I mean, I love the original Alfred Hitchcock movie, but it's in black and white. There isn't very many great shots in that one, but this one I think is very good. I think Anthony Perkins' directing was very good in this movie. This is the first movie where we get full-on Psycho Norman the entire time, where he is battling Mother back and forth the entire movie, and you know exactly who he is and everything, because in the first movie you get Norman, and you don't really, get that reveal until like halfway through the movie. And then in the second one, it's not really until the end that he turns into Mother again. And in this one, you get full Norman, full Mother the entire time, which I think is great. And honestly, a great concluding chapter to a trilogy. Honestly, I consider these first 3 movies as a trilogy, because the fourth one is just unnecessary. So honestly, this is a great closing chapter, the most forgettable of the 3, but still a very good movie. Coming in at number 2, right after I watched it, I didn't know which one I liked more, but I did go number 2 is Psycho 2. I genuinely when I first watched Psycho 2, I did not know if I liked the original Alfred Hitchcock Psycho or this one better, but I have since come around and I admit that the first one is better. And so yes, number 2 is going to be Psycho 2, which is a great movie. The sequels kind of lean more into the slasher, rather than like some of the psychological stuff, but that's still fine. I think it makes them a little bit more fun, a little bit less serious like that original movie, but it's still a very serious movie. It's still a very good movie. I like that they bring back Lila Crane, and she is kind of, she's set on revenge for her sister in that first movie, so she's trying to essentially frame Norman, who is, he has killed people, but she's trying to get Mother back out of him so that he'll go back to the mental hospital, because he's been released after in between the first and second movie, he's been released, so he's back into normal society, and he's doing good at building a wall in between him and Mother, and she is just trying to bring Mother out of him with, like, pranks, kinda. She literally pulls pranks on him with, like, notes and stuff in this movie, and she's just trying to, like, she's kind of honestly turns into the villain in this one, honestly, where she's trying to undo all the progress that he has done to separate himself, distance himself from Mother, and, stop killing. So, yeah, honestly, she's kind of the villain. And then you get Mary, I believe, is the new character, who's kind of works as a love interest for Norman, and she, I think, is very good. I think they have very good chemistry. They both kind of have, like, conflicting opinions for their mother figures in their lives. Norman's being obviously a little bit more conflicting because she's dead, but in this case, she is in on her mom's plan to frame Norman, and they have both been killing these people and setting up Norman to make him think that it was Mother killing these people. So honestly, Lila is the villain of this movie for the most part. I mean, Norman Bates still kills people in this. I think he ends up killing Mary at the end of it. Again, I kind of mix up this one in part 3, so just bear with me here. But I think this is a very good follow-up, a very needed follow-up. I think the writing is really good. I think the acting is solid. I think this is just overall a very good follow-up to Psycho, which I didn't think you could do, especially with how iconic and how classic that original movie is, how great it is. Like, you're not supposed to touch perfection, but they touched it, and I think it actually worked out pretty good, because Psycho 2 is a very good movie, and I even like Psycho 3, but let's get to the number 1. Is there anybody out there who didn't know exactly what was going to be number 1 when you clicked on the video? No, there isn't. There's not one person out there who was like, well, he might like that remake one. I don't know. Psycho might not be number 1. No, number 1 is Psycho. Number 1's the original. Sure, it's in black and white, and I'm not super, like, black and white movies just don't really catch my interest. Maybe I'm just stupid and like pretty colors, but black and white films usually don't really hold my interest for as long. I've watched the Universal Monster movies, and maybe that might be why I didn't like them very much, because I think those movies are boring. But this movie isn't boring. I think it is very, very, very well written. That is one of my biggest compliments for Psycho, is the writing is so good. The whole thing with Marion Crane is, I think, the best written part of the movie, where she runs off with the money, so now they're looking for her, but they have no assumption that she is dead. They're just assuming that she's hiding because she's stolen this large amount of money, so they're not actually, like, thinking that Norman is a suspect, because there's nothing to suspect, but they're just trying to figure out where she went with all this money. And Norman happened to have killed her, which set him up absolutely perfectly in this whole thing. And I think the acting is very good in this, especially because I think some of the older acting isn't very good in, like, especially Universal Monster movies. But this movie, I think, has some very good acting. The directing, again, very good. Alfred Hitchcock, he's incredible. You got the iconic shower scene, which is one of the best moments in the horror history ever. It's amazing. You get the twist where, the main character dies halfway through, which, I mean, obviously I knew that was going to happen, because the shower scene is the shower scene, but, especially if I wasn't personally there in 1960 when the movie came out in theaters, but if I was, I could imagine how big of a shock that would have been, and I still completely respect it, even though it didn't work for me, because I know the shower scene. But yeah, Psycho's great. Psycho's a classic. It's number 1. I mean, what'd you expect? And that's going to be it for today's video. Remember, if you did enjoy, make sure to hit like and subscribe, so I know you want to see more videos like it in the future. Otherwise, you can comment down below some more video ideas for me, or comment down below your own ranking of these 5 films, or you can hit the bell notification to be notified when I post any brand new videos. And until next time, I'm Ethan Horror. This has been Ethan Horror.